My husband, 32M, says he needs space. He needs time to decide after a week walking out on wife, 29F. So, my husband and I separated about a week ago. He moved all his things out and moved back in with his parents. His parents and I don't get along, so I'm sure they're enjoying it. Since moving, he'll text asking if I'm okay every day and requesting that I don't sleep with anyone until our divorce is finalized due to mutual respect. If I sleep someone while still married to him, he'll never look at me the same, and there's absolute no chance of us ever getting back together if I do. I didn't respond. He then asked me to have dinner with him for his birthday, which is tomorrow. He asked 2 times. I was confused on his intentions because he left, so I asked, is he trying to reconcile our marriage or talk about divorce matters? He said neither if I don't want to. He only want to go dinner. He kinda asked me spontaneously. I'm like, okay, is he playing mind games? He's been the one bothering me every day since he walked out, and then when I finally ask what are his intentions, he says he needs space, time, a few weeks to decide what he wants to do because he's tired. I told him that I want a divorce because I didn't want to wait on him to decide what wants and only decide to come back when he realized the grass isn't greener over there. It isn't fair to me. He said I need to stop acting off emotions, which I'm not, but he isn't stopping me or not asking me to wait up on him to decide. He said he'll check back in a few weeks to let me know whether he wants to work on our marriage or to divorce, and I can either say yes or no. Could someone explain this behavior? How do I cope with all this? I have 2 little ones, 2 under 2. Edit. He said he want to have open communication. If I want to reach out to him I can, and if he want to reach out to me he should be able to. This comes after our hour phone call and me telling him I would really like to not be bothered unless it's about the kids so I can focus on moving forward, and he kept saying stop acting emotionally. My mind may change next week, so leave that possibility open. Whatever that means. He mentioned that he isn't looking to date or talking to any other women right now. He's chilling. He's also willing to continue paying his portion of the bills. Our relationship been rocky for a while. As far as arguing over the housework, his family overstepping boundaries in the past and husband allowing it, things getting disrespectful between his mother and I, arguing over messes being left around. I'm a clean person and he more so messy. In my opinion, I don't think it was horrible to the point where he needed to move out. He did admit today he's been wanting to move out. It wasn't on a whim. Could someone explain this behavior? Yeah, he's trying to keep you in a little break in case of emergency box while he fucks other people and looks to see if he can trade up to a model he likes better. File for divorce now. Every request he has made of you is disgusting, manipulative, and shows he only cares about himself. Have his ass served with the papers on his birthday if you can. The popular answer is that he wants to keep you locked down in case he fails to find a new partner. But another possibility is that he wants you to be the one to press the divorce. He wants to be divorced, but if you're the one who initializes it, he can forever say that you're the one that left the marriage. He was still willing to fight for your marriage. You know this is a lie, but his psyche needs for this to not be his doing. It's a mind game. Better keep your distance from him before a decision is made. Hi. Sorry this is your experience. It's most likely he already has an alternative lady in mind or in his life, and he is checking to see if the alternative is better than what he has with you. It's like buying an unknown new device when you already have an old one. You keep the old one and try out the features of the new. You throw out the old only when the new is better, but can always go back to the old if the new isn't. His behavior is the eat your cake and have it syndrome in relationships. You said it, 2 under 2. He is expected to be an adult and do his share in parenting, chores, working, and right now his life sucks. He has to adult and he is opting out. He no longer has spare time to chill. He ran home to his parents so he can be lazy and be taken care of. I, 34F. Don't want to move for a 12th time in 5 years. Husband, 36M, does. Since my first son was born 5 years ago, we have moved 11 times if you count places lived in for 6 weeks or longer. I am tired and stressed. Kid was born outside Chicago. We bought my husband's grandmother's house in Florida because it was a good opportunity, but ended up leaving because I have a condition that makes me hypersensitive to heat, sun. My youngest inherited it as well. We tried North Carolina, but husband decided it wasn't a good cultural fit. We moved to NJ and somewhere along the way stumbled upon a dream house that we managed to buy for half of what it should have sold for. It's big, with land and woods and a creek going through it. It's quiet, down the road from a horse ranch and apple orchard. We sacrificed massively to own this home and I love it. So do the kids. After all that, husband doesn't want to live here. He says there's too many trees. He wants to live in a city. I do not. I work full-time and am the primary caregiver for our 2 kids. I'm also the one who repairs things, cleans, cooks, mows the lawn, and plans literally everything for the family. He works full-time and runs a side hustle. He talked me into moving back to Florida for a year to take a job opportunity, for both of us, and buy a rental property while we're there. We just finished the year and I deeply regret it. My mental health is in shambles, I'm really burned out, and our marriage has suffered greatly. Kids were asking for the dream house the whole time. We're back in the dream house and husband has come up with the idea that we should move to Boston. We don't know anyone in Boston, we don't have jobs in Boston, there is no reason to go to Boston, but he wants to pick up and go. He says it's a great compromise since we can get a house outside the city so he can take the rail in. I don't see the difference between that idea and the dream house, which is an hour away from NYC and easily connected via train. He says this place makes him depressed. I've had severe clinical depression for the entirety of my adult life and I fight it every damn day with medication, counseling, mindfulness, and awareness of triggers. He will not take care of his health or seek out anything that might mitigate the depression the dream home gives him. I think he got depressed because he never left the house, worked from home, or put any effort into making friends. Husband says I'm selfish and gaslighting him when I tell him that. Am I the asshole for wanting to stay and give our kids some stability? I'm too tired to move yet again. You are not the asshole. He should really speak to someone about the depression. People tend to think that changing their circumstances will fix it, but it doesn't really work like that. He is being selfish. Tell him to go by himself. Moving to Boston is not going to cure his depression. Stand your ground and refuse to move. He needs to get his depression treated. He's moving from place to place thinking he will escape his mental illness if he only finds the right place. There is no right place. He's destroying his family instead of fixing what's wrong within him. I'm a mental professional. I'm not going to diagnose your husband over the internet, but he needs to see a professional. Please don't move again. If he won't see a professional and insists on moving again, please let him go. It is much better for children to not be bouncing all over the place. Please stay put for them and for you. If your kid is coming up to school age, this needs to stop. 25M. Started dating a girl, 25F, who is still friends with someone she has hooked up with. Hello everyone. I have been dating this girl for a few months and have dated in the past. I have lacked the feeling of commitment or seeing a future in my past, but I finally feel confident in this person. We get along very well and tackle a lot of things in a healthy way that's mature. We talked about our past before and we were accepting of what happened in the past as past, and now we have each other. She did mention that she met one of her guy friends initially through a date. They kissed and they agreed to be friends instead after the date. I didn't ask any questions and thought that was the extent of their history. I had this thought in the back of my head if they did more, but I never asked her because I was happy with the present. So recently we talked about our past and I asked her what history they have. She said that they went on a date and kissed and have seen each other naked. I felt like this was initially underplayed. It would have just been a kiss, but not to this extent. We all have a past, so do I, and I'm fine with it. I'd like to think that when we enter a serious committed relationship, we let go of the past out of respect. The thing that I am bothered by is that this friend is still in her life as a close friend. He means a lot to her, she has introduced him to me, I didn't know their history, brought up potential trip to do with him later in the year, and even about to do a road trip to go see him on her own in a few weeks. He lives on different city now. I find it weird to be in the same room or hang out with someone who has seen my partner in an intimate way. I also feel that it was a bit rude that she mentioned all these plans with a dude she hooked up with and involved me in it. I don't know his character, but we know how guys think. I'd like to think that I'm a secure and confident guy, but this situation rubs me the wrong way and have been bothered for a few days. Overall, I think the fact that someone she had intimate moments is still in her life, more than just a friend. By extension, he's involved in my life as well, which I find weird to have. He's seen my girlfriend in ways I don't want to think about. Rude, disrespectful that she would talk highly about him and create future plans that involve him and I, despite their history. Has anyone navigated through a situation like this? Am I thinking too much? What can I do to not feel bothered by this friend? Thank you. If that's your boundary, then maybe she isn't the right girl for you. I wouldn't care at all. But it's your boundary to have, and if you feel strongly about it, maybe you are simply not compatible. There are plenty of people out there who won't care about that. And there are also plenty of women who never keep in touch with any of their exes. It's a personal preference. Just like some people don't mind watching porn in a relationship, and for some it's a deal breaker. You don't navigate through this. You end the relationship. She has no problem being close friends to an ex, and that is perfectly fine, and there is nothing wrong with it. You aren't fine with it, and that is okay as well. I have a no ex in their social circles boundary myself. I just think there is too much drama and awkwardness. Plus, I have seen it implode many times firsthand. You can't ask someone to cut off a close friend. You just have to decide if you can live with it or cut her loose. I'd move on and find someone with boundaries closer to your own. It's a matter of what you are comfortable with. I live in a smaller city where most people who are into the same things have known each other for 25–30 years. There's been a lot of inter-dating and overlapping friendships and situations, but for the most part the friends stay friends. I met my husband because I was casually sleeping with his roommate. 10 years later, that guy was at our wedding, and my husband was one of his groomsmen. It all depends on how seriously you take nudity and casual encounters. It's okay if it's not okay with you. It doesn't make either of you bad people, just different. I personally wouldn't give a fuck about the fact that they hooked up and still hang out. The lying about it would be an issue. If both bother you though, then they bother you. Your feelings are your feelings. Ain't up to us to tell you how to feel or how to live your life. My 18F boyfriend, 21M, thinks it's awesome that my friend, 18F, is in love with him. My boyfriend and I have known each other for 3 years, but we only started officially dating around the same time I turned 18, which was 6 months ago. Our relationship has been great, and literally no disruptions, fights, or problems have occurred between us until recently. My friend group has always been aware of my boyfriend for the past 3 years that we've known each other, but obviously I didn't introduce him to my friend group until we started dating. Almost immediately I noticed some suspicious behavior on the part of my one friend, 18F. For example, she was always a very extroverted person, but once my boyfriend started hanging around us she suddenly became very shy. Then she started giving him random little gifts, while also constantly giving him weird compliments about how amazing he smells, and how beautiful his eye color is. The last straw was when she asked for his number in our Snapchat group chat, and after I privately messaged her to call her out on her inappropriate behavior, she told me that my boyfriend and her just have a better connection than he and I do. This obviously infuriated me, so I, regrettably, called her some names, screenshotted our conversation and then blocked her. My boyfriend and I already had plans alone together later that night, and when I showed him the screenshotted conversation between my friend and I, he said, "Damn, she's really crazy about me," before chuckling and saying, "That's awesome, I couldn't believe what I was hearing." And the entire situation had already messed with my emotions, so I just kinda froze and began to tear up a little. I couldn't control it. He then got annoyed with me and said, "I don't have time for your shit and I'm taking you home." I didn't say a word on the car ride home, and just sat there in silence with tears running down my face and the back of my throat hurting from trying to contain myself. It's now been 24 hours and he hasn't texted me or even tried to stop by to see how I'm doing, which really hurts. My anxiety is now off the charts also because I'm scared that he's chatting with my friend, or possibly even hanging out with her. What is the best way to react to this nightmare? He sounds like a child. Both of them sound awful. I would talk to him about how that's highly inappropriate, but it seems like he may be moving on already. Do some self-care. Maybe just move on. Break up with him before he cheats on you and he will. It's not even a question. Your boyfriend is a jerk who doesn't care about your feelings. Wonder where he went after he suddenly took you home right after finding out your friend was interested in him.